Please like and subscribe.
Rare is the selfless person. If you meet someone who dedicates time to your betterment, thank your lucky stars. George Lucas understood the significance of mentorship for a hero's journey. In epic tales analogous to real life, young people need guidance. No one reaches adolescence or adulthood with all the answers. When stakes are high, knowledge and skill matter. This is a life lesson. Who cultivates knowledge and skill? Mentors. Woe betide novelists, screenwriters, and directors who disregard coaching for their heroes. I don't need no stinking mentor is a theme for protagonists nowadays, but it has consequences. Keep watching for examples of mentorship in Star Wars, and the reason that old outclasses new, again. Welcome to Galactic Initiative. I'm your host, Jeff. George Lucas has credited Joseph Campbell, codifier of the hero's journey, for influencing his creation of Star Wars. A key character on the journey is the mentor. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and Han Solo were Luke's mentors in the original trilogy. Obi-Wan and Yoda provided supernatural aid along with instruction and practice. Han provided experiential flair that saved lives, though he downplayed it as simple tricks and nonsense. Was the trio's mentorship enough to carry Luke through difficulty, defeat, and temptation? No. Heroes must walk the road of trials to gain wisdom, and must be rescued from the dark night to understand sacrifice. Epic plots are full of tribulations, and despite the mentor's efforts, the hero's inexperience or unpreparedness is exposed. Otherwise, what's the point? What's compelling about protagonists who vanquish antagonists and resolve conflicts without struggles and losses? More on that attitude later. Would Luke have survived the first or second threshold of the hero's journey without Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Han? No. Luke's guides enabled him to destroy the Death Star, escape Cloud City, and reject the dark side. He recalled their teachings to develop his skills. Obi-Wan introduced the Force and sacrificed himself for the greater good. If he didn't perform a mind trick, model composure and dignity, dismember spaceport thugs, conduct a saber lesson, deactivate the tractor beam, surrender his corporeal existence, and speak from the netherworld, would Luke have become a Jedi? Yoda's endeavors fostered humility, instilled self-control, and boosted constitution. If he didn't describe the Force, demand physical conditioning. Pause. Must I explain Yoda's merits to you? I'll skip the obvious examples and fast forward to the final mentor, Han. Like an older brother, Han balanced encouragement and admonishment. When they met, Luke disliked the smuggler, but Han supported Luke because the cocky teenager reminded him of his younger years. Harrison Ford's sidelong glances, knowing grins, and eye rolls conveyed his character's fraternal feelings. Han didn't express his care, but his actions spoke volumes. Though he was selfish in Episode 4, he always protected Luke. Who spearheaded the attack on the command center above the hangar? Who was last down the garbage chute? Who charged the stormtroopers to draw them away from the Millennium Falcon? Who surprised Darth Vader with only a second to spare? Han led by example with consideration for Luke. Once he matured, Luke took the lead by rescuing Han from Jabba the Hutt. Notice, in all three relationships, deceptions and disagreements, Obi-Wan and Yoda lied about Darth Vader and Luke's importance to the Rebel Alliance. Luke understandably felt betrayed when he learned the truth from his stalker on Cloud City. Furthermore, Yoda's tutelage was predicated on failure rather than success. Negative outcomes were meant to humble Luke, but they caused doubt, which came from fear, which could have led to anger, which could have led to hate, etc. Yoda didn't bother with soft skills due to time pressure. Unbeknown to him, Luke registered for a crash course that combined novice, intermediate, and advanced education. To be fair, Yoda warned him.
I won't fail you. I'm not afraid.
You will be. You will be.
But without experience, Luke couldn't have anticipated the trials ahead of him. Training with Yoda was like drinking from a fire hose. Every minute, the diminutive creature revealed a core tenet of the Jedi Order to Luke. who was expected to process and apply the insights at the pace of an accomplished Jedi Knight. Arguments ensued. Yoda didn't use Obi-Wan's paternal methods, which, again, to be fair, came from 18 years of reflection on an overly critical approach with Anakin. Obi-Wan motivated Luke. Still, they argued when Obi-Wan adopted the certain point of view defense. Luke, in the end, was correct. His mentors, the wisest and most capable Jedi, were wrong. Love, not fighting prowess, overcame the dark side. Han and Luke bickered from their first moment together.
10,000, all in advance.
10,000? I can almost buy our own ship for that.
But who's gonna fly it, kid? You?
You bet I could. I'm not such a bad pilot myself. I don't have to sit here and listen.
However, like brothers, their association grew stronger with age. Han showed his loyalty, and Luke reciprocated. I remind you of falsehoods and squabbles to make the following point. Mentorship isn't a simple, straightforward arrangement. Though it's necessary, it doesn't conform to an ideal model. It can be unnoticed, unwelcome, and unpredictable. Long ago, one of my coaches told me, you can learn two ways, what to do and what not to do. Failures in some areas should neither discredit successes in most areas, nor efforts at improvement in all areas. Fiction's renowned mentors were wrong about a great many things. Homer's Iliad and Odyssey featured Mentor, who was wise as a counselor but as a caretaker let down Odysseus' son. Shakespeare's Polonius and Prospero were both deeply flawed. Gandalf trusted Saruman and directed the Fellowship, albeit reluctantly, into Khazad-dûm. Dumbledore knowingly endangered adolescents to unravel the mystery of Voldemort's longevity. Morpheus believed in Neo so blindly that his judgment was compromised. But, despite their limitations, where would heroes be without mentors? Is perfect the enemy of good? Do our elders have nothing to teach us about life's battles? Obi-Wan, Yoda, Han. None of them should be underestimated or overlooked for their contributions to Luke's growth. Ask people about their favorite characters, and you're likely to hear one of the three names. Fans enjoy their personalities and respect their roles as mentors in the original trilogy. They embody the old scheme, the epic, time-tested, and universal hero's journey. What happens to stories when knowledge and skill are spontaneous? When heroes are fully realized in their teens or early 20s without guidance? When counselors are portrayed as impediments or worse, as villains? We have numerous examples from the past 2 decades to answer those questions. I'll focus on Star Wars. Forgive 2 obvious statements to minimize potential complaints about my essay. First, plots may or may not require mentors. The archetype's raison d'etre or purpose is diminished or eliminated by older and/or adept protagonists. Second, in plots with young protagonists, exposition may address prior mentorship or demonstrate no prerequisite for it. Different stories, different lore. But make no mistake, mentorship for young Force users is absolutely essential according to George Lucas. He based Star Wars mythology on epic tales that accentuate the hero's journey.
I'll tell you the problem with the power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You're going to sell it. Well,
the sequel trilogy was a disappointment. Its proponents cite high ticket sales. Its detractors, myself included, cite low audience satisfaction, merchandise sales, and cultural influence. How would you rate the sequel's staying power after just 5.5 years? Will the sequels be relevant in 30 to 40 years? Brand damage is the applicable term. From my perspective, the sequels were doomed from the beginning. Incompetent and arrogant creators, rushed and absent planning, poor communication, priorities above narrative. We're discovering the production's troubles over time. On screen, one of my biggest issues was Rey, the heroine. She didn't capture and maintain fans' interest because misogyny. No, she didn't walk the road of trials. I don't blame Daisy Ridley, and I don't despise her character, but the facts are clear. Rey didn't lose or learn in any meaningful context. Notwithstanding an isolated, unsupervised childhood surrounded by scavengers, she was friendly, articulate, groomed, well-mannered, and credulous. Notwithstanding its customizations and idiosyncrasies, she piloted the Millennium Falcon in combat without rehearsal. Notwithstanding his Force-enhanced interrogation, she probed Kylo Ren's mind. Notwithstanding only 2 days of ownership, she used Anakin's lightsaber to best Kylo Ren, a versed opponent. Notwithstanding her ignorance, she schooled Luke in the ways of the Force. I could go on, but you're familiar with the circumstances. Rey's biggest deficit was mentorship, but she displayed none of the challenges associated with it. She had knowledge, skill, and virtue before she encountered BB-8. Somehow, without a caregiver on Jakku, she achieved self-actualization. Impressive. Also, impossible. The studio's virtue signaling and risk aversion yielded a facsimile of Episode 4 without Obi-Wan Kenobi, and an inversion of Episode 5 that villainized Luke as Yoda's proxy. Ageism, sexism, recency bias. On whatever basis, the sequel suffered from a lack of character development. How were viewers supposed to regard Rey when she never wanted for training and never endured defeat? Her biggest conflict was parentage, and her abilities weren't brought into question. The studio's culture sanitized her, and in doing so wasted her potential and disrupted the hero's journey. I don't need no stinking mentor was an obvious theme from the get-go, and the results say more than I ever could about a young protagonist's need for nuanced instruction. If you removed Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Han from the original trilogy, would you help or harm the plots? Did Maz Kanata, Jake Skywalker, and pre-recorded clips of Princess Leia teach Rey about the galaxy and the Force? No. Mentors are key characters, and their omission is a glaring reason that old Star Wars outclasses new Star Wars for epic storytelling. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
I need your help, son.
Check out Galactic Initiative for all things Star Wars.
Galactic Initiative is not authorized or endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited. The name Star Wars and all related materials are registered trademarks of Lucasfilm Limited, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, all rights reserved. Galactic Initiative is a registered trademark and other product and company names are trademarks of their respective holders. Use does not imply affiliation or endorsement.